Hello, Senior Stoner fans. It's the real Senior Stoner back at you for your Lookah Mini Unicorn Diamond Dab of the Day. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me. As always, you enjoy the video, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, tell your friends, run down the block, shout, sign up for Senior Stoner now. Send a like, and I reply to all the comments. Let's get started with today's topic. We've all had conflict in our lives. It just presents itself sometimes. Well, you got to know how to diffuse conflict even when it seems impossible. Let's discuss. You see, when we hate conflict, it can feel horrifying to find an angry, dissatisfying person yelling at us. In our personal lives, we yell back, shut down, give in, or whatever. But if it's in business, we're responsible to handle it better. So when you find conflict in situations where you've got to deal with it, here's what we can do. Take a breath. A big one. When folks come at us with a lot of energy and anger, we pick that up. We may even jump into the fight or flight mode. The most important thing we can do is try to diffuse the conflict, to keep ourselves calm. If someone comes at us with a tornado of anger, we need to avoid leaping into the tornado with them, no matter what it's about. We have the power to calm them down and need to use it. Simple, true. We must plant our feet, grab that person's hand rather than dive into the tornado, flying around, slamming against each other in the chaos. You must extend the hand. You got to figure out what's going on. Identify what happened to anger that person. How do they see the problem? This is not the time to determine if whatever they're railing about is legitimate or not. It's time to understand completely what they're upset about. Ask questions, clarify, and make sure you understand, but do not put your own opinion in yet. The person is not calm yet. And unfortunately, any disagreement on your part will fuel the anger. You've got to get that person calmed down. Well, then you got to agree with them. I'm not saying you got to grovel and say how wrong we are. I am, you are. That's a bad idea and not recommended. But it's not that I'm saying that you agree with people all the time and how they feel. But telling someone they shouldn't be upset or they can't really be angry about something is not effective. That's how they feel. And at this point, unfortunately, you'd be showing either you understand their perspective, thoughts, and feelings, or you don't. So you don't say whether that expectation was reasonable. Can't judge the feelings at that point. We're just saying that we understand what the person is upsetting about. An attorney would probably make sure that you clarify and get all the details and worry about admitting wrongdoing. I understand that. But you need to say to a customer somehow that I agree. You're upset because something was wrong, okay? You're saying that whatever the expectation they had didn't come with the outcome. You're just clarifying that perspective for whoever's upset. Ultimately, have to ask for a solution in these situations. That's what it's all about. Once people feel heard and understood, they often calm down and become much more reasonable. Well, before this level, before this point, they escalate their complaints and anger, ask for the moon. If we got where we are right now, we've received and understood what the person's angry about. Therefore, asking for the solution is often going to be a calming, positive conversation. If you genuinely ask for the solution with no sarcasm or snarkiness, you might just find out that you're going to get the problem solved real quick and real easy. You never know. You also have to remember that you got to promise that you can't promise you can fulfill the solution the person wanted. You are, however, listening to what they want. And ultimately, we have to decide how much we want to do. When you've completely heard what the other person has talked about and their desired solution, you then can decide how to proceed. Was the expectation on the other side reasonable? Did something happen where there was a mistake made? Or did that person misunderstand what was done? There's no correct answer to how you proceed. It's going to depend on the situation. It's going to depend on the situation around that particular person and what happened. Most important thing here, most important advice, if I was to call it that, is to present whatever you're planning to do in a situation like this calmly, reasonably, and with clarity. Both parties should understand what they're deciding to do. There can be negotiation, and sometimes the person could become angry again. But you're now in the driver's seat because you've got all the information. That's the beautiful part about it. You've got all the information to decide how to resolve the situation. So, if it's best that you can come to an agreement and set up a specific plan on how it'll be accomplished, then it's done. Well, you might even need to set some limits on future behavior, depending on how unruly your interaction was with this person. If they're a friend, a relative, someone you see on a regular basis, well, you're going to have to set some limits on how they approach you the next time you interact. Maybe talk about how best to communicate when they have questions and concerns, as well as the communication that you won't tolerate. Set limits. Clarify their expectations and clarify your capabilities. The more we can be clear on how we'd like to have the relationship with the other person going forward, the better the results in an interpersonal relationship. Whether it's business, personal, pleasure, doesn't matter. Finally, diffusing conflict can feel absolutely impossible at times. But when it's done well, and this is where my previous life came into play, when it's done well, it can lead to extremely rewarding and effective conversations. You see, I was the fireman. I think I mentioned it. In business and frankly in personal. When there were difficult people to deal with, they sent me. They sent me because I could take the angry grizzly bear and turn them into a hamster. It took a lot of doing, but I was able to do it every time. This has been the Real Senior Stoner, talking about how we diffuse difficult situations. And I got to tell you, we're all going to encounter one or two, or 1 or 200, or 1 or 2,000 in our lives. So it's good to have an arsenal, if you will, of tools to help us deal with those things. Let's do our diamond dab of the day with our Lookah mini unicorn. Today we have it on atomizer C for high clouds. We're going for clouds today, everybody. Here we go. Thanks so much for joining me. As always, you know what to do. If you enjoyed the video, go shout down the street. Join Senior Stoner on YouTube. Send a like, and I reply to all the comments. Have a wonderful day, everybody. And remember, we can all diffuse difficult situations. Cheers. And have a great day, everybody. Out of a little thing like this. Wow. Remember, anybody can diffuse a difficult situation. Cheers.